For this presentation, I'm going to be doing the experimenting with forces, where I will design a science experiment to test the effect of the force of gravity on 3 different household objects. Okay, for my first object, I'm going to be doing just a little tape roller, which is just kind of normal that you'd have in your house, just like it has a little clear tape in it. Gravity pulls this object down quite easily because gravity doesn't depend on the weight of the object to pull it down. It just depends on the fact of if there's anything supporting it, and there's nothing supporting this object, a piece of tape. So it fell down quite easily to the ground. For the second object, I have a piece of paper which will not act the same due to air resistance. It'll fall a lot slower. As you can see, even if I drop them at the same time, the paper will take longer to fall by just a little bit because of air resistance. This, it has a more aerodynamic shape, and there's nothing catching it, almost like a parachute. There'd be nothing catching the air when it goes down to make it go slower, whereas this is an easier shape to push and pull, and it's lighter and you can move it around. By push and pull, I mean it's bendable, so the air pushes on it and it creates a little gap, and it acts almost as a parachute for it to fall down. For my third object, I have just a little plastic cup, and I'm going to be dropping it like this with the hole in the top so it doesn't catch air, like a parachute would, pretty much. This fell just about the same speed because they're both don't have an area where they could catch air, almost like a parachute again. It's kind of flat, and you couldn't bend it in enough to make it a shape that could form as, again, a parachute. Because any shape like a parachute that has a slot for air goes down slower due to what's called air resistance. So even if I drop them at the same time, they both land at the same time, even though this is a little bit heavier than this because gravity pulls down at the same speed, no matter what the mass of the object is. For this science experiment, I really learned about more how gravity works, and it's kind of fun to research about air resistance and all the other things that make the objects fall slower and faster. Also, one thing that I did find weird about the cup is even if you do drop it like this, like it would catch air, it still doesn't. As you can see right here, it doesn't catch air. They fall at the same time. And I'm not sure if it's just because of the shape or the height, because I can tell after a while it does start catching air. As you can see, I just dropped this from a higher height, and I can tell there's a little bit of a difference between the two, in the landing time. But overall, the science experiment was quite cool and fun. I really enjoyed researching, especially about the air resistance. I found that really cool because I now understand more about how a parachute works and why this, even though gravity pulls it down at the same speed, it still falls slower than either of these two, which, as you can see right here, it still falls slower because of air resistance.